Imagine quitting your job, then watching your former coworkers hit the lottery. That's basically what happened to Bonnie Pointer. Because while the Pointer Sisters were busy dominating MTV, climbing the charts, and becoming one of the biggest groups of the 1980s, Bonnie was sitting on the outside looking in. And the worst part, she wasn't some random backup singer. She was one of the original Pointer Sisters, a founding member, a sister, which is exactly why this story gets messy. Because when a regular band breaks up, it's business. When sisters start fighting, that's Thanksgiving dinner ruined for the next 20 years. And trust me, this story gets awkward fast. Before the neon, before MTV, before Jump and Automatic, even before everybody got excited, the Pointer Sisters were already building something special. The group originally consisted of sisters Anita, Bonnie, June, and Ruth Pointer. And unlike a lot of acts manufactured by record labels, these women had real chemistry because they had spent their entire lives together. They weren't pretending to be a family. They actually were family. And that connection helped make them stand out. By the mid-1970s, they were already finding success. The future looked bright. Then Bonnie made a decision that would change everything. In 1977, Bonnie left the group. Officially, she wanted a solo career, which sounds reasonable. Lots of musicians do that. You spend years in a group. You want creative freedom. You want your own spotlight. You want people to stop saying, "Which Pointer Sister are you again?" Fair enough, right? So Bonnie signed with Motown, and for a moment, it looked like she might pull it off. The problem? The music business loves making simple decisions complicated, and Bonnie's solo career quickly ran into problems. Legal problems, contract problems, industry problems, the kind of boring business nonsense that can completely derail momentum. Now here's where things get a little bit more interesting, because Bonnie's departure didn't just affect Bonnie, it shook the entire group. Now according to accounts from the time, Anita and June were devastated. In fact, there was a period where continuing without Bonnie wasn't even a sure thing. Now think about that. The Pointer Sisters almost stopped being the Pointer Sisters, not because of drugs, not because of scandal, not because somebody punched somebody backstage, because a sister left. That's how important Bonnie was to the group. For a while, everything felt uncertain. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. And then the 1980s happened. And holy shit, talk about bad timing. Because while Bonnie was struggling to get her solo career moving, the Pointer Sisters suddenly caught fire. They had a string of hits. Slow Hand, Automatic, I'm So Excited, Jump for My Love. It was hit after hit.
He's so shy. No way to control it. It's totally automatic. I want a man with a slow hand. I kiss it in the night, then jump for my love.
The group wasn't just successful, they were everywhere. Radio, television, MTV, movies.
Burning, doing a neutron dance.
Meanwhile, Bonnie had to watch all of this happen from the outside, and that's gotta sting. Imagine leaving a company, then watching it become Apple every day on every channel for years. That's a really tough ride. Now let's ask the uncomfortable question. What if Bonnie had stayed? Nobody knows. Maybe the group still becomes huge. Maybe they become even bigger. Maybe they never reach those heights at all. That's the frustrating thing about music history. There are no alternative timelines, no rewind button, no second chance. All Bonnie could do was watch, and the success gap between her solo career and the group kept getting bigger. The kind of thing that can create resentment. The kind of thing that can quietly sit in the back of your mind for years. If this were just a band story, it would already be painful. But remember, these weren't co-workers. These were sisters. Family arguments don't end when the tour bus pulls away. They follow you home. They show up at birthdays, holidays, funerals, family gatherings, everywhere. And over the years, stories emerged suggesting that not all the wounds healed. In later interviews, Bonnie spoke openly about feeling excluded from certain family decisions, which suggests the scars from the split ran a lot deeper than many fans realized. The music industry can be brutal. Family feuds, sometimes they're worse. The irony is almost unbelievable. Bonnie left because she wanted something bigger, something of her own, a chance to stand apart from the group. And instead, the group became bigger without her. That's not criticism. It's just one of those cruel twists of fate. The kind of thing that happens in rock history all the time. But usually it happens to band members, not sisters. That's what makes this story hit differently. Today, most people remember the Pointer Sisters for their hits. The energy, the videos, the music. And they should. The group earned every bit of that success. But behind those hits is a story that's a little sadder. A story about timing, ambition, family, and one decision that changed everything because Bonnie Pointer didn't leave after the success. She left before it. And for the rest of the decade, she had to watch what might have been. And honestly, that's a tough one to shake.